Hi, my name is Kelly Cramer, and I'm the Manager of Foundation Partnerships for Best Friends Animal Society. I'm excited to talk to you today about my favorite topic in grant writing, how to write a winning proposal. Writing grants can take a lot of time, which is why the work you put in ahead of time is so important. First and foremost, make sure you are eligible. If you're not, it's a waste of your time to write the grant, and it's a waste of the reviewer's time to read it. Through research, outreach, and cultivation, you should know how to align your request with the Foundation's funding interests. That is, you should have a good sense of which program to propose in the grant and the amount of funding to request. If the Foundation only funds cat programs, don't propose a dog program. If the Foundation doesn't make grants over $10,000, don't request $25,000. Check out webinars on research, outreach, and cultivation in the digital community if you haven't already. Next, review the grant application and guidelines as soon as possible to make sure you understand what is involved. Some applications are very complex and can take many hours to complete. Plan ahead and get the grant completed. You may need to request program details, financial information, and stories or photos from other people within your organization, so give them plenty of time to gather those details. All right, you're ready to write the grant. Whether you are completing an online grant application with fields, a request with clear guidelines, or something completely free-form, your request should always include the following components: an introduction to the organization, a statement of the problem or need, the methods or activities for addressing or solving the problem, the program outcome that you hope to achieve as a result of these activities, a plan for evaluating the program and its impact, an explanation of how you plan to sustain the outcome, not the program, and the budget. I've put together sample language for these grant components, which we will cover in the next few slides. The example we'll be using is a humane society that is collaborating with a spay-neuter clinic to provide services to families with low incomes. Please note that these numbers are all fictional. First up is the introduction, which should show your organization's credibility and what sets you apart from other groups. It includes your history, descriptive information, the community you serve, and outcomes and achievements. This is usually one paragraph. For example, since 1960, Anonymous Humane Society has been dedicated to matching families with homeless pets and educating the community about responsible pet ownership. The largest no-kill nonprofit animal welfare organization in Random City, AHS helps animals and families through adoption, spay, neuter, and medical care. Thanks to our dedicated staff and over 600 volunteers, AHS helped more than 3,000 animals last year. Next, we have the needs statement, which describes the urgent issue facing your target group or community. Use data and stories, but convey that the problem is solvable. This is a critical piece of your grant and may be about 25% of your proposal. For example, last year, more than 2,000 cats and dogs were killed in Random City shelters. Of those animals, nearly 60% were surrendered or impounded from 2 zip codes. Nearly 85% of residents in these zip codes live below the poverty line. With only 2 veterinary clinics located in these areas, residents lack access to low-cost pet healthcare services, and in particular, affordable spay-neuter. Last year, AHS partnered with Spay Neuter Clinic to fix 782 pets in Random City. Now, with your help, we can expand our free spay-neuter voucher program to target residents in these zip codes, areas where these services are needed most. A grant from the XYZ Foundation will help hundreds of pets like Sugar, a Chihuahua whose family wanted to get her spayed but could not afford the surgery. The methods and activities section outline the services you'll deliver to achieve the outcome and the staffing, collaboration, equipment, and timeline that will be needed to accomplish it. For example, in collaboration with SNC, AHS will help families with low incomes access spay-neuter services by distributing 1,000 spay-neuter vouchers and offering transportation assistance to SNC as needed. A spay-neuter coordinator and 10 volunteers will market the program through block walking and door hangers. Using goals and objectives, the program outcome describes the change your organization aims to make. For example, through targeted spay-neuter in these zip codes, AHS will help reduce shelter intake by 15% over 2 years. This will prevent 5,000 dogs and cats from entering shelters in our community, while helping families access critical medical services for their pets. Next is evaluation, which is not only important for stewarding a grant, but it provides data for the next time you apply for a grant. A paragraph on evaluation might read like this. AHS will evaluate the targeted spay-neuter voucher program on a monthly basis, comparing shelter intake data to the baseline data collected at the beginning of the year. Halfway through the year, AHS will perform a zip code analysis of SNC clients to ensure that the vouchers are being utilized by those who need them most. By the end of year one, we expect to see a 10% reduction in shelter intake. Foundations often want to know what your organization's plan is for sustaining the program when the grant ends, because they want to feel confident in their investment in your organization. It's easy to say that you'll sustain the program with more funding, but your focus should be on sustaining the outcome, not the program. For example, understanding the importance of long-term sustainability, AHS's staff and board implement a plan to diversify funding for programs like the spay-neuter voucher program. This includes building relationships with donors, foundations, and local businesses, increasing revenue from special events, and expanding earned income opportunities through our gift shop. Through strong collaboration and evaluation, we focus on sustaining outcomes, not programs, and will make operational and budgetary adjustments to the voucher program as needed. Lastly, we have the budget, which reflects your program plans. For some foundations, this is the most important part of the grant. They may read the needs statement and then jump to the budget, so ensure it's accurate and makes sense. Include personnel expenses as well as a budget narrative that details exactly how grant funds will be spent. Grants are really a combination of creative writing and technical writing. Storytelling is an often overlooked element of grants, but it's absolutely key. Here's why. Storytelling is an important way to engage the reviewer in your mission and work. Storytelling also provides real-life examples of how a program works and the impact it can achieve. Not only that, storytelling triggers an emotional response. People remember how something made them feel. They may not remember the data or the facts in a grant, which are still very important, but they will remember how they felt. And finally, storytelling can humanize the need. Weaving in a story to your proposal can be easy. Here's an example with Sugar, who was mentioned in the needs statement earlier. Thanks to the XYZ Foundation, we can help animals like Sugar, an adorable mutt who was rescued off the streets in random city by a family. Sugar's family could tell that she'd had multiple litters in her lifetime, most of which had probably ended up on the streets or in shelters. Her family wanted to get her spayed, but their limited budget made it impossible for them to afford the surgery. Like Sugar's family, many people in random city face this challenge, but they still care deeply for their pets. The other challenge is that there's often a lack of veterinary clinics in neighborhoods that need them the most. But thanks to the spay-neuter voucher program, generously funded by partners like you, Sugar's family was able to get her spayed and vaccinated for free. By funding this request, you will be able to help 500 pets like Sugar receive this critical service. The reader will remember Sugar and they will want to help more animals like her. Including a photo is a great way to bring the story to life. And be sure that you're using a success story. The story may be sad in the beginning, but a happy ending demonstrates the success of your program. This is key to inspiring the foundation to fund your request. Let's quickly review the characteristics of a strong proposal. These are qualities that will help set your proposal apart from others. It is well written, easy to read, and free of typos and grammatical errors. It is written with passion and enthusiasm. It highlights your organization's expertise. It shows how the program can solve the problem. It indicates clarity and effectiveness through measurable goals, objectives, and your plan for evaluation. It demonstrates your organization's collaborative relationships. It explains the broader impact on the community. It makes the foundation the hero. It has a budget that makes sense. To close, let's review some additional best practices. First, follow directions. This includes paying attention to character, word, and page limits and not exceeding them. Submit the grant in the format requested. Perhaps the foundation wants it via email or snail mail or sent via USPS only. And ensure you've included the required signatures and attachments. Often, foundations want a copy of your IRS Form 990 or most recent audit, so double check that you're sending everything the foundation has requested. Make your proposal neat, presentable, and easy to read. In grant writing, a good rule to live by is the 12-12-12 rule, which involves imagining yourself in the shoes of the person reviewing your grant. It's midnight and she's been working for 12 hours straight, reviewing grant proposals, and yours is the 12th one in the pile. Grab her attention with a neat and easy to read proposal. That's why it's also important to write at a 6th grade reading level, not because the reviewer isn't smart, but to ensure that the grant is easy to read and can be skimmed. Only promise what you can deliver. If you can only transport 200 dogs, don't say you will transport 500. Meet the deadline. This seems like it should be easy, but you'd be surprised how many grants come down to the wire. This is why doing your homework first and planning ahead is so important. And finally, make the foundation the hero. Foundations are mission partners, not just funders, and are the heroes who make your work possible. Sprinkling in language that makes them the hero is a great way to engage them. Hero language might include, thanks to you, more than 1,000 animals were saved in 2017. We spayed and neutered 500 cats with help from the XYZ Foundation. Support from the XYZ Foundation will help transport 50 dogs. Follow these best practices and you're sure to write a winning grant. Thank you for joining me today to learn how you can write a winning grant proposal. I hope the information will help you as you write grants to support the amazing work you're doing for animals. Check out the handout for this webinar. I've included a list of the components of a grant along with characteristics of strong proposals and best practices. If you have questions about this webinar or the handout, please be sure to join us in the digital community and interact on the videos post. Thank you for watching and we'll be back soon.